can click start stream now. That means we're streaming. Is that right? Is it actually happening? Oh my god. Robert Harrison, what's up? Also, I don't know how you got the #1 thing, but good job. I don't understand how all that works. Maybe it's because you're the only person here that's not a mod in commenting. Let's see. Yeah, I see. Oh. Okay, it shows us back. Starlink is great. Don't question the Starlink. The Starlink's the only reason you have this to begin with. Zerp. Yeah, I definitely ditched you guys for a tin can. Are we back for you, Tomothy? Is it working? Let's see, let me go ahead and set the weather for full everything. And this is where we want to go. Helipad. Says arrival. Where can we stop in between? Tyndall. Military. That's pretty well on course. Okay, cool. I'm happy with that. Post some flying videos on YouTube. What if I told you there was one on my channel, but it's unlisted? What if I were to tell you that I have the videos with audio from the mics and everything? The one I did upload is 30 minutes long, and it took like 10 and a half, 12 hours to upload. So I don't plan on uploading all of them. But I do plan on putting compilations or cool things that I see or cool lessons or whatever. So appropriate stuff will be introduced or whatever. No, I'm not going to list it because one thing I told the guy, my instructor, I was like, look, I want to take videos and record them and everything, but with that being said, I don't want to profit off of your teaching, if that makes sense. Let's see, does this feel right? That feels right enough. Dirty ass helicopter. Let's see, Shift C. So what I will do, I will share it with the Discord eventually. But yeah, I didn't want it to be like, hey, look, I'm paying you to do this, which you're already getting underpaid as an instructor anyways. Let me post this on my YouTube channel and maybe profit off of it or whatever. So I just elected not to list them. And I just shared it with like my close friends, because honestly, only my close friends knew that I was actually in lessons. So like there was a few people that I called the day that I did my first discovery flight lesson accumulation thing, where it was a little bit of both. And called like 5 people and told them. And other than like close family, that's the only people who knew. Nobody else knew I was going through it. So I was kind of keeping that to myself. Okay, we'll see you in a bit. So yeah, I was kind of keeping it to myself because I also didn't want to brag like, hey, look at me, helicopter lessons finally, and then like flunk out on medical. Which I just did medical today, good up to class 2. And I didn't want to do it and start talking big shit like, look at me, Mr. Pilot, whatever. And being still like day 1, day 2, you know. Where's my mouse? Because we need the generator on. Horn. Okay. We all good? All good? But yeah, I didn't want to start bragging, boasting, whatever, when it was literally day 1, you know? So I flew over my friend's house, which, if you follow my personal Instagram, you would have seen. But I went and flew over a homie's house. Forgot to bring my tripod yesterday, so all my footage was filmed earthquakey. Yeah, it happens. Okay, let's see. Topped off on fuel, good to go. We're going to pick up. Clear right, clear left. Gauges are in the green, no warning lights are on. Oh man. What am I doing here? That was horrid. Let's redo that. I also feel like I'm sitting slightly weird in my chair. No excuse though. Okay. I also have no idea what the weather is here. So. Anyways. Yeah, didn't have anybody, Actually, we'll do the full runway thing since I'm official. Or I'm an official student now. Yeah, so I didn't want to start flexing something that I'm not. I don't want to say I'm humble about it, but like the sim work definitely worked for learning how to hover and being proficient with hovering and everything. So that was a huge plus for me, being able to basically hop in and do that, but we talked about that. Okay, yeah, that explains we had a weird head when they're taking off at their picking up at the ramp. And we can climb. Stream cut, fun. It'll be back. Yep, see, there we go. It's back. Told you. It will be back eventually. So yeah, training's been going good. Let's see, day one, what did we cover? Day one, actual lessons. So it was a bit of him filling me out just to see, because the instructor from the other location was the one who gave me my discovery flight, whatever. So it was a little bit of the new guy checking me out to make sure or not new guy, the actual instructor that I would have checking me out to make sure I'm good for him. So let's see, we started out, we did a normal departure and approach. Did a couple of those, and then at one point, like my first approach was fucking horrendous. But you know, I'm not gonna be like, look at me, I'm hella. My first approach was horrendous. Like, kind of went off to the right. Wasn't expecting as much torque or anti-torque pedal as I needed to put in coming down. Because the feel, even though all the movements are the same here in the in Microsoft, the amount of force that you put in is completely different. And on top of that, like the amount of distance that you move your collective or your pedals or whatever. And even if the distance is the same, the amount of force to do it is completely different. So first approach was horrendous, but I'm at like 6.5 hours now. We're doing like 1.5 to 2 hours a day. But I'm off till Monday because he's some neurosurgeon that's never flown a helicopter before, booked like 4 8-hour days because he's sure that he can learn how to fly a helicopter from 0 hours and do 8-hour days of getting beat to shit trying to learn how to hover, which I'm assuming he hasn't done any sim work. I'm assuming he's just a neurosurgeon guy who wants to fly a helicopter. But yeah, so second approach slid in really, really good. The one thing that I'm noticing on my approaches, and after the second one, after my second lesson, first one with this instructor, so I'm just going to call that first lesson because it was my first full lesson. Second lesson, I recorded that one because I want to see what I'm doing wrong. You know, I want to see the things I do and replay them and see what's good, what's bad, see what things I messed up on, relive them, blah, blah, whatever. You know, it's just like a football team watching the game afterwards. Yeah, so the approaches got better as the day, and of course as I'm getting back used to it again. And then he's like, okay, cool, let's do, I think we did some quick stops. And if you're not familiar, quick stops, I'll do one on the road down here real quick. We'll slow down to like 40. Oh yeah, about approaches. So, with approaches, I feel like I'm kind of continuously variable with my approaches. We're like, cool, if I set my angle here, airplanes are going to have this angle set to glide in. The collective's a lot harder to push down than I expect, so I feel like I'm floating it. And then also I feel like, okay, I feel like I'm too steep, so I'll shallow it up, or I'll feel like I'm too shallow, so I steepen it up, and I need to just figure out how to, or not figure, but learn how to just set my approach and be happy with it, or be consistent with it. So anyways, on the quick stops, obviously it's pulling back slowly, opposite pedal, and push forward to level off, and then you come and you set down. But with here, I mean, I was barely moving my cyclic or anything. But IRL 22 is non-hydraulic, so you're already manhandling the cyclic as it is. And then on top of that, like, it was a lot more push forward to level off than I expected. Like right here, I can say, okay, cool, this is level, but after you're looking at the sky for one of your maneuvers, like, maybe this feels level, but really this is level. So it was just a completely different feeling to get used to. But I'm leveling those off fine now. Good enough. Still want to do more of that. We did... There's a cone down that they would do, like, cone practice with. He was like, well, okay, since Walker said that you were good at hovering and that you were doing like little hover patterns and stuff your first day, let's come and set the cone up. And I think I may have mentioned this in the Discord, but they had a cone that was laying on its side. So I came over there and the Robinson skid sticks out. And like this skid's here, but the Robinson one sticks out and curves up and has an open point. So I was able to take the front skid and kind of swipe it left over the cone edge, and I set it up, then knocked it back over, and he's like, okay, cool, we'll knock it over, and he just said, like, pick it up. So then I easily knocked it over and stuck the skid inside, picked it up, then moved it over to somewhere else and set it down, backed out of it, and then set it up again and knocked it over again. He's like, okay, cool, yeah, I was not expecting you to be able to do that. And when I say I was doing it, it was like super smooth. I mean, it wasn't fighting it or whatever. It's basically first goes going into it, it was doing it. I think I missed one of the knockovers once because I was trying to do it too gingerly from the very, very top. And I was like, well, why am I trying to just barely do it from the top? So I really have to like go down with the cone. So I pushed over from the middle. But anyway, he's like, okay, we'll set it up and do an orbit around it, facing it, like a left orbit. He's like, keep your skid as close to the cone as you can. And when I did it the entire time, it was no more than a foot away from it in one angle when I had a crosswind I wasn't expecting. But it, for the most part, was like 4 to 6 inches away from the cone the entire time, and sometimes even closer. And then I backed up and did like a wider, like a 10-foot diameter, where I wasn't keeping my skid on it, but keeping the helicopter directly pointed at it, pirouetting it. Did some slope landings. They were, I won't say more difficult, because they're exactly what I expected, just more whatever. Like when you lay a traffic cone on its side and you can stick it inside, are you talking about like putting my skid on top of the cone and doing a pirouette around it? Basically what I'm saying is I had the cone standing up normally and I was hovering next to it, or kind of behind it. Do cones have fronts and backs? Anyway, I was hovering with my skid like 6 to 10 inches away from it, and then I did a left hand pirouette around it, but keeping my skid like within inches of it the entire time. Like imagine like a drift car drifting around a cone and their front bumper just kind of like barely touching the cone the whole time, that sort of thing. Oh, not an opening on top of the skid, but like the front of the skid is open, where it's like on, let me make sure I have the altitude, like on the side of these, how it's kind of a closed in skid design here. The Robinson R22 is just that bottom thing, so you can jam it inside of the skid, or jam the cone over it, or slide it into the cone. That's what I mean. Yeah, nothing crazy or weird, just different skid, basic skid design. Yeah, so did that. Slope landings were, I don't want to say harder. Oh, no hole in the skid. Slope landings, I'm not going to say were harder than I expected. It was just all the moves were exactly what I expected and what I had been looking at and researching and practicing like on here. But I think I even said it in the Discord, like required a lot more right cyclic than I was expecting. And it's a weird feeling too, like tilting over that far while sitting on the ground, knowing dynamic rollover and how it happens, and you're just like, woo, okay. But I've got those pretty damn soft now. First day attempts at hover autos. were decent. Like, I put it down, but it was very, like, left-right jerky. And part of that was maybe still holding the collective up, or kind of having it, like, midways pulling it up to dampen the drop. And having it midways up, it doesn't degrade the rotor speed as quick as it would be if you had added more collective into it. So then after that, there's a lot more anti-torque fighting. Because, like, right now, I don't want to say my feet are tuned for something, but my feet are kind of tuned, or they're really aware of what the helicopter feels like when it's producing the appropriate rotor speeds worth of torque that I need to counteract. As soon as you get rid of that torque that you're counteracting, you need more pedal input. And then on top of needing more pedal input, you also are adding collective, so that it's a very, when you're used to doing it normally, it's a very unnatural amount of pedal that you're putting into it. But at the end of the day, it's like, cool, if you're going left, you need to put in right pedal. If you're going right, you need to, without, like, re-picking it up and actually just using it to soften the landing versus trying to sustain. So it's a slightly different mindset to think of, and it's just getting that to click. But the last one, like, it really clicked with me. So kind of rode with him loose on the first one and a bit tighter on the second one, talking about normal autos, because I think the next one I'm going to at least do we don't do full downs for the private. They're all power back on, or power on autos. But I think literally my next lesson, I think they're gonna put me on autos. Not that I'm surprised, because it's only my 4th lesson with him, 5th flight overall. But that also comes to, like, cool, I'm not spending 10 hours learning how to hover. So they're kind of able to jump a lot of the curriculum stuff there, because I've already got the hovering part figured out, which is great. This means I'll have 30 hours, of being in an auto-rotative mindset to where I can understand and do those better, hopefully. Let's see. Remind me tomorrow. So yeah, Monday we might do that. Yeah, I went to Peach State yesterday, because we were going to just jump into doing auto stuff immediately, but the fuel guy put more fuel, because he wanted, like, me and him can only be in there with like 3/4 of a tank of fuel, because I'm 185 and he's 165, 155. With how hot it is and stuff, we're already pulling max fucking power almost everywhere when we're not moving. But yeah, the fuel truck guy put more fuel in there than we expected. So I said, hey, let's go down to Barnstormers, which is the restaurant down there at Peach State. And so we went down there and then went and flew around my friend's place, which is how everybody on social media found out that I did. And I had like fucking 30 messages when I woke up this morning, like, Guy, we're so happy for you, oh my god. Yes, I do plan on flying another aircraft. When I have more money. Because right now, I'm trying to use the $15,000 I've been given for this as absolutely efficient as possible, which is why I'm not really doing the streams on days where I have to do when I have to fly the next day, because I want to be as completely mentally there as possible. Because again, I'm not working and making money, so I'm trying to use what I have as absolute best as I have, and it'd be fucking stupid not to. But yeah, I do plan on, as soon as I'm private, start crossing up to the 44, because I also want to do my IFR stuff. They do have multiple 22s, but they also have 3 locations, so they're all at the different locations, and whenever one's getting maintenanced or annual or 100-houred or whatever, they'll bring another one in or whatever. So they do, but it's not like a huge flight school. But I do plan on crossing up to the 44 at the appropriate time, and plus once I'm privated, I want to be able to take friends up whenever they want to pay the half of the rental and gas and stuff. And that way I can take more than one person up, or if I have a friend that weighs more than 155 pounds, you know. Yep, tier 1. What were we pulling at hover? We were at 30 degrees Celsius, so our power, because we were doing the 2,000 foot chart, so our power at hover was 22.5 with the 0.9 added for the 5 minutes allowable for max performance or whatever, and that was 23.4. And basically the entire time around hover, it was like 23.4, and like there was times trying to like get moving and get off the ground where it's like just popping over that because it's fucking 100 degrees outside, and it almost doesn't matter. Yeah, they have like three or four R44s. They have a Bell 47G as well, which the 47G was out and about today. I saw it on Flight Radar. Oh, fun fact, they also went up to my instructor, like his first day, or like second day in Georgia when he got the job here. The guy who owns it was like, hey, pack your stuff, we're going to North Carolina. And that was for the Hurricane Helene stuff. It's like just a few days into it, he was out doing the Helene stuff. The hurricane, general aviation, helicopter shit that was going on up there. Saw 350 flying from ATL to Lima, diverting back to Atlanta. Interesting. But yeah, that's what he was saying. It's like, you can pull more, but the engines are derated for that little bit of safety and for some of the limits of other stuff, which they're not going to like hard brake as soon as you pull more than the 131 horsepower. That's the upper, because it's what, 124 and 131 horsepower. It's not going to brake at that point as soon as you hit like 132 horsepower asked for, but it's premature wear on stuff. So 577BA. But anyways, yeah, it's fucking hot, and it's just like, even doing like a max performance takeoff out of the hole, there's a farm 2 miles south, 2.5 miles south of the runways. If you look, it's called Hall's Bridge or Hall's Farm, Hall's Flying Ranch. I think it's Hall's Flying Ranch. Anyways, there's a field that they have that a field that they have that we use for confined area stuff. And of course there's other places that they use for confined area. This one's just 2 miles from the airport, so it's kind of the go-to spot. But anyways, I mean, like, we were doing some decently steep approaches coming down into there, where it's like, oh yeah, and it's also like, yeah, I know there's the more power to pull, but I would always much rather be under the power, and not so much for the mechanical sympathy, but because I know in the real world, when you're working and making money flying helicopter for something other than like police helicopters or something like that, the companies make money by filling it up as much as they can. So even if you go, oh man, I've got a AS350 and I've got this huge payload and capability to take stuff up. Well, you know what? If a company's using it for its potential, guess what? You're flying near the top of your payload anyways. So you just can't rip the fucking collective straight up and gain your altitude and go. You still have to milk it. You know, there's especially medical stuff, you know. You get a fucking patient that's 100 pounds more than you expected, and you may have to burn fuel on the ground before you can get out of wherever you landed to pick them up at. So even though there is a slight bit more power to pull, I like the limit. I like the limit of having to, you know, like, really be mindful of what I'm doing, because pulling over the red line in a 22 or a 44 may be relatively inconsequential, but pulling over the red line in a turbine is a lot of fucking money. So I think it's a good way to learn. But I mean, there's, like, the hole that we went into, this, if we were going out in the same direction, we weren't able to make it out, but the field's oblonged, so. Oh yeah, dude, mustering machines, fucking as hot as it is, I'm sure they're running full fuel. But they're usually just one pilot in there, though, right? Excuse me. But yeah, there's the way things can happen and the way things are by the books. So, learn by the book, test by the book, and then once it gets into practical places, if I'm mustering for somebody or doing whatever, and they're like, hey, we know that you're taught this way, but with our machines we can run it higher. It's the risk that we take at the cost of, like, okay, cool, we may have to replace something or whatever. So that's operators' choice on being able to do that. On the piston engines, it's not as big of a deal. But for training and stuff, I'll still be sticking as appropriately as I can to allowable power. Oh yeah, they're still pulling a lot because they're not like slowly just moving. I mean, they're fucking, for lack of better terms, they're flooring it every single time they're moving around and doing something. Oop, looks like the stream paused. Oh, it's back. Good. Speaking of the POH, I do need to download the one from Robinson and print it out. The instructor was also telling me there's an AI that he found when he was in school. Because he's relatively new, but he's like 700 hours or so. But it's an AI where when you download a PDF of something, it turns it into a podcast. So he downloaded the R22 manual into it, and he would be listening to it while driving, and it was like two guys talking like, yeah, dude, so, like, I was looking at the power levels and whatever and the payload of the R22 the other day, and, like, did you know in the Beta 2 that it's, like, dude, guess how much it is? And the other guy's like, I don't know, like, payload, our total max gross takeoff weight could be 1,220 pounds. Like, yeah, dude, it's 1,220 pounds. So it makes, like, a conversation where you're hearing people yap about it. And I was like, yeah, shit, that sounds like a cool learning tool to attempt to get into. A good way to try to learn shit. Which, speaking of, ooh, internet must be dying here. There's no trees populating for me. Do I have more storm coming over? Let's see. No rain for 60 minutes. There was the one that just went over. I don't know, maybe it seems kind of spotty the way this stuff's spotting it. Oop, there we go. The internet's back, boys. You can buy the POH for 40, but if you get it from the factory, it takes like fucking months to get because they just don't stock them, so I'd have to find somebody else with one. And I was just going to go to like one of the printing places, and it'd be like $15 for him to have them print it. Either way, I'm looking at finding one that I can and start scrubbing through. On top of that, though, I'm not super concerned about the... Well, I'm still concerned. I'm not super concerned about the actual practical exam of the examiner riding with me. I feel like I'll be there when the time comes. But I'm more nervous about the written exam, which you only need a 70 to pass, but if you get a 70 on it, the instructor that comes to fly with you, he asks you about the ones that you got wrong. So I'm more worried about the written just because there's a whole bunch of laws and regulations. The weather, one practice test I did, it was 100 questions. Like the second half of the fucking test was all weather-related stuff. eBay, true. I'll look on that in Facebook Marketplace and see if I can find one popping up. Yeah, I'm more worried about the tests because of those reasons. It's like, okay, yeah, I understand how a lot of the mechanical stuff works, and if the test was purely on the mechanical and aerodynamics and like flight profiles or whatever, like I'm more than confident I could get a 70 or higher, easy, if not 80 or 90 or higher. But the regulatory stuff, the weather stuff, I'm not up to speed on, and I'm not afraid to admit it. Like one practice test that I went to go take, like the first question was like, if you're in an incident, how long do you have to report it to the FAA? And I was like, I don't fucking remember seeing that anywhere in any of the like videos I've watched on the online ground school and stuff. Like, I don't remember that question. So there's a couple of apps and stuff he suggested on practice tests and stuff like that. So I'm going to look into those. I'm going heavy into my ground school stuff. I didn't do it today. Had to do my medical this morning. I had some other stuff to do today. Tomorrow's 4th of July, so I'll obviously be doing a little bit of celebrating with that, but I'm not a big drinker. But I do want to really, really be stringent on all of my book work. Because it doesn't matter how good you can fly. I mean, sure, there's some places where maybe you don't need a license to fly. Some farmer just has a 22 that he uses to pollinate his shit. And maybe he's just like, hey, yeah, you can come out here, you're always flying on property, it's not that big of a deal, just come out here and do it. Sure, yeah, I don't want that job. So yeah, the book work's going to be the big thing for me. Am I nervous about it? No. I'm the type of a guy where I know I may not be as blessed as others to get certain things or whatever, but I can sure as shit outwork a lot of people, and that's the mentality I'm going into this with. Or like tomorrow, even before I go out to the lake to celebrate the 4th of July, I plan on doing a few online lessons. And if we do this flight enough tonight, or we get through with it quick enough tonight, because I'm not planning on shenaniganing or anything. I want to get it through and get it done, because I want to still keep my getting up early-ish schedule. I may watch a lesson tonight and take notes on it, so it's something I can sleep on. But either way, it's going great. I was driving today, going to go do my medical, and I was like, dude, I can't imagine being effectively 4 flights in and not knowing how to hover, and where most people take 10 to 15 hours to figure hovering out. Or the average person takes that much. There are people that are quicker, people that are much slower. I was like, I can't imagine that. Also, decent chance for employment with just a private license that I figured out. Apparently police, so like any counties that have a helicopter, or like State Patrol, which they have 15 helicopters here in Georgia State Patrol, you don't need a commercial license to fly them. Private license, obviously, to get, like, to be allowed to actually pilot it per FAA. You had to learn the hard way. I don't say I can't imagine the hard way, but it's... I'm so happy with the way that I did it. Also, I don't know if you can tell, we're crabbing a bit to the right. That's because one thing that I'm personally working on, which I don't want to say it's a bad habit that I picked up, was kind of trimming myself just by the way it looked, instead of following the baller with the Robinson, the trim strings up front. So it's decently often that he's like, hey, check your trim. He's a younger guy. He's not fucking I don't know what Liam did. I know that he did school for a while, but then he quit. Maybe he's back now. I don't know. But yeah, so I'm trying to mind my trim, and I'm watching the ball here, so I'm trying to put myself mentally in that position to, which we can't get all the way to get the ball dead in. Usually you stomp the ball, so I even out right now. Well, shit, now the ball's... I don't know how accurate this ball is. Either way, we do have wind coming from the right, so whatever. So, oh yeah, so police, state patrol, they don't require a commercial license because the way that the use of the helicopter is, or their law, or whatever, it is... They view it as the same way as, like, cool, the police officer drives his police car to work, or drives it as part of his job, and it's not like the job's the helicopter. It's like, cool, that's just his transport or whatever. So they look at he ended up finishing a few years. I'm pretty sure he flies for police sometimes, yeah, which I'm sure I could get on with a local police department to probably fly sometimes, which might end up being better, so I could still do my film work and finish this do this next season of the show. But also, it wouldn't be bad to go for State Patrol because they're always flying. They've got, like I said, 14 or 15 helicopters. Bell 214, some 407s, some OH-50Hs, which is a Bell 206. We'll say they have a 212 or a Huey. They've got a decent selection of 429 or 427. I don't know the fucking difference between those two for some reason. Anyways, they've got a handful. And you don't need a commercial license to do that because it's the same as driving your police car. And I want to say they're shortaged at the moment. So it may be something where I just throw in an application just to see if they say anything. Or they're like, hey, yeah, we'll use you. I don't really want to be apparently also, whenever you do the State Patrol, at least, you're not a police officer that drives a police car around and has to do normal patrols. It's like, hey, you fly the helicopter, that's your job. But also, apparently, they do like you to be commercial. If they like you, then they'll bring you on and they'll train you up to commercial level. But either way, it's an option. Not something I would want to do, but it does give the option for a lot of experience in turbine, as well as like variety of experience in different forms of helicoptering. Yeah, State Patrol. So yeah, like they they do medical evacs. If there's no normal helicopter medical service available, and if they're nearby, they do support for the Georgia Bureau of Investigation. They do their own stuff. They do VIP transport for like the governor and other, I won't say dignitaries, but people coming through. They do a lot. The helicopter, their air team is pretty consistent. They do search and rescue, long line, rappelling, hoisting. There's a lot of stuff that they do that would make for a really, really good experience in other areas and places. So that's one reason why I'm even remotely considering it. Okay, see you in a second, GPS. I'm going to call you GSP because we were just talking about GSP. But either ways, right now my focus really is the books. Remembering all of the little acronyms for doing different stuff. Like MOTAC for doing a max performance takeoff, like check the mags, obstacles, winds, takeoff power. I don't fucking remember what A is. C is for clear skids. What's the A? MOTAC A. I've got it written down, I just don't fucking remember because there's so many little acronyms. Like minimum equipment list is camel's foot. Compass, altimeter, manifold pressure. The other A, air temp, maybe, because you got to figure out what your manifold pressure and stuff would be. L, landing gear, if applicable. It's a lot chiller to get your PPL in the USA. Yeah, but also it makes it where it's hard for us to cross out of country if we were to go do something. So it's easier for somebody who flies, let's just say for McDermott, to come up here and transfer in than it is for somebody to be here. And like somebody, like we get a lot of overseas people coming in because it's cheaper to get your license, like me and you were talking about. But when they go to transfer out, it's harder to transfer, and you have to do like supplemental courses and stuff. Like Hillsborough, a really big school, they have now gotten certified to do EASA transitions to get people into the European space, because the American USA version just doesn't apply. Yeah. Either way, it's fun. I'm super fucking glad that I'm hovering. I'm so glad that was an easy thing for me to get into just from the sim stuff. Makes me kind of wish that... I mean, it would be hard. It wouldn't be hard. It would just take a lot of money to build a sim that had the feedback of a 22, being the non-hydraulic, and I don't want to say just shaky, but like having to put the force into the cyclic to like really push forward or pull back onto, to make the pedals heavier, and like it'd be hard to make a collective that feels the same way. I don't want to say sticky, but it like it requires force to move, you know, versus mine where it's pretty loose, which I'm kind of happy I have the loose cyclic. Although it would be nice to like have more resistance on like bigger push forwards and stuff. But I do like having it loose because it makes you really, really conscious of what your inputs are. Which is a big thing, you know, helicopters can be very, very fucking sensitive. They say like, ooh, just think about going this direction and you'll go this direction. But yeah, I feel like I have to manhandle the cyclic down, because I feel like I push it down, And I feel like, okay, cool, I've moved it. So we're going to go down, but then it just keeps maintaining. The little thing likes to float it. If it has its engine power, it's going to fucking fly. So. But either way, it is fun. And I sold you guys out for a tin can. But I would say it's also a lot easier to get a lot of licenses here, which sucks that there's licenses for things. Dude, I can't wait for an A-star. I don't want to say I assume it's going to be sooner rather than later. But I do have, I don't want to say I've got a lot of connections places, but like I've got a handful of friends in a lot of different places. So I'm hopeful that an A-star's in the future. Talked to my powerboating friend the other day. I don't know if I told you about that. Did I tell you about the guy where they're trying to start a shop building race boats? I'm going to talk to him some more today. I was going to go by and visit him, but he wasn't at the shop yet because he was up late last night helping somebody get a car finished for some event coming up or something. Yeah, so still don't know if they're leasing or trying to buy or whatever, but either way, fingers crossed I don't want to say get in on that, like, oh yeah, let me take advantage of the big rich people's money. But like, it'd be a cool thing to work for anyways, just in the racing, but the military's trainer version. They're releasing that. So that's something I'm going to potentially get. For us to start adding. The Sikorsky from Cowan Sims coming out soon. The Blackhawks coming out soon. So I don't want to be like, oh man, there's another $100 I'm dumping into the fucking game. But, you know, maybe. We'll see. We'll see. I need to make another non-helicopter video to try to stoke up the subscribers. I mean, 830 is still good. No good sub numbers, but I'd like to have it to the 1,000 mark, so that way the garage videos that just kind of like passively get views, they can passively earn me money to buy more helicopter models. Oh, also one thing I do want to say, I was saying earlier I was keeping the flight lessons private. I didn't tell anybody on socials. It was literally just you guys, my close friends who I'd called and told either in person or called and like talked to them. And like one or two girls that I've been friends with for a while. And one girl that I've talking to with intent, haven't gone on a date yet. But anyways, nobody knew. And the video posted, like all the homies that I had told, they were all super ecstatic. Like you know it's a good friend when they're like, dude, I am so happy to see you doing this. Like they're genuinely excited for me going through this process. So super good to have those friends, those are the ones I called and told anyways. But I had people who were just purely online friends that reached out and expressed like deep, deep joy that I was going through this and finally doing this thing that I've been, I don't say dreaming of, but working towards for years. I was like, man, it feels really good to have homies and friends and people in my life that are like supportive. Like all they want to do is see me do it. A drastic increase in female activity once I have my license. No, I think it's going to be kind of more like the car thing, where it's like you get a cool car because you think women are going to come talk to you, but it's really just a whole bunch of dudes at gas stations like, oh yeah, dude, my uncle has a car like this. They're so fucking cool. It's going to be the paradox. You think you're going to get the people of the opposite sex, but it's just a whole bunch of dudes fucking showing up like, dude, sick, you fly helicopters, it's so fucking cool. I think I could fly a helicopter. Like, sure, women are cool, but I want woman. The women multiple days, or the plural version. That's a past Matt thing. I just want one. I'm tired of all the idiots. I want a smart, good girl. I don't want any more of these fucking idiots. Which they are everywhere. It's like I have the option to talk to a handful relatively regularly, but for the most part, like, the ones that I do talk to, very high quality. The ones worth chasing. Here, are we finally getting out of all these trees that are spawned, even though there's not a whole bunch of big trees here, and they're actually like little bushy trees? Yeah, I feel like it should have been more like this the entire time, right? It shouldn't be like this, it should be like this. Bragging rights. Yeah, guys, I can fly a helicopter, fuck off. Are you talking about the girls having bragging rights? Like, oh yeah, my boyfriend, he flies a helicopter. Because in that case, then I could see that. Kind of a gold diggerish attitude until they realize that most helicopter pilots don't make a lot of money until they've been doing it for a fucking while, and even then they still don't make anywhere near the money that an airline pilot does. But see, that just goes along with the jokes, too. Hey, I'm Matt, I'm a helicopter pilot. Yeah, true, but that's the fucking meme. It's like that kid who's like sitting in the class with like the veins on his neck showing and stuff, and it's like pilots when they go 10 seconds without telling somebody that they're a pilot. I mean, shit, I didn't tell anybody I was training until somebody else posted a video of it. I'm still not going to go around and post videos. I'm still not going to make any public videos on the channel here. But, I'll do like a public compilation or something funny or neat pops up or whatever, you know, I'll do that. But I'm not somebody that goes out of the way to tell people that I do this or do that. Really the only reason I bring up my job doing the movie stuff here is because it's relevant to me explaining why I'm fucking stupid enough to try to fly around the world in a helicopter on Microsoft Flight Simulator. It's like, hey, look, I'm not working. Don't have to wake up early tomorrow, so I'm doing this to keep myself off of Amazon. But either way, it's all fun. You've returned, welcome back. You missed a whole bunch of stuff. Super cool geography that we were flying over. Like 50 people joined the server and flew with me. We all did backflips. It was sick. Too bad you weren't here. 95% of helicopter pilots here tell every person they meet they're a helicopter pilot. I'm gonna change my job description on Bumble to ceiling fan cowboy. Also, one thing that I've noticed, or at least it is right now. I don't know how much it's going to change once we start doing autos and stuff. But I know some people are like very like, okay, cool, we're coming into land and do this. So sterile cockpit, don't do anything. Like, let me focus, do my thing. It's like, I don't fucking care. Cowboy that rides flying ceiling fans, that's me. It's like, yeah, the whole sterile cockpit thing, I don't say it's indifferent to me, you know, like, I've done drifting and, like, stunt driving stuff. Like, my friend, who I flew over his house where he videotaped it and listen to me, fucking old-ass dude, where he recorded it and posted it. I've ridden with him doing, like, stunt driving practice days and stuff. And we're like drifting around cones through a course and stuff like that. And he's like steering with one hand, but then he's reaching down with his other hand and like adjusting the air conditioning in the car at the same time. And like, yeah, I've done shit just like that. Rotor buddies. Hell yeah. Dude, there's a picture I saw of a fucking... Damn, was it Playboy? It was like somebody did a photo shoot. I want to say it was an old A-Star, like an old original AS350. But yeah, she had some things on her. She was a dual landing light model. But anyway, like, yeah, the sterile cockpit thing, it doesn't affect me. Like when we were doing the close hover work where I was picking up the cone and knocking it over, whatever, I'm chatting the entire time. VHA proof Matt is old. I am fucking old. We are getting pretty close to whatever the name of this fucking place was. Tidal, I think. Tittle? Titty? Too many titties here in Australia. Too confusing. Yeah, so the sterile cockpit thing like doesn't bother me, and I'm sure once I too many titties. I'm sure once I start doing the full autos and everything too, I don't think it'll be an issue. I think I'll be able to talk through it. I don't know if doing the streams have helped with that. I'm sure when I was first teaching myself how to do the hovering and doing the hours and hours of hover work at the racetrack, when I was doing that in Flight Sim 2020, I'm sure I was sitting there like tongue out, like focusing on the screen, really, really watching stuff. But probably doing the streams here and talking the entire time. And I'm like, okay guys, let's try backwards auto rotations. It's probably kind of killed my need for a sterile cockpit. Although I will say, like, if I'm doing it professionally, oh, you're watching the video of me flying? Mm-hmm. Which means somehow, some way, Tomothy. Oh, fuck. Oh, shit. Okay. That's interesting. Does he follow me? What? Okay, yeah, so you viewed the, with your little private account. Okay, he follows me. I was fucking wondering. Holy shit. I was looking through my who viewed my story to see if Tom had a public profile. It's still his private profile, so I'm not going to dox that. But Sean Moretz watched my story. Yeah, I know I posted. Well, I didn't post it. I've shared my friend's page who shared the link. But Sean Moretz, he fucking viewed my story. Sean Moretz is a DPE, a designated pilot examiner out on the West Coast. Like a legend in the industry. I want to say he's like chief operating officer or chief pilot of like HeliNet or Heli Services or some like big fucking company. I mean, Sean Moretz is like fucking legend. Like most people in the U.S. who fly know who Sean Moretz is, just because he's that level of but he's like super low key. Like he doesn't fucking post much. He doesn't talk much about his stuff. He only has like 700 followers on Instagram. But he's on one of the earlier episodes of Helicopter Podcast where you can hear his story or whatever. His name on Instagram is Gonzo Pilot, GONZOPILOT. But I mean, he's like legend status as far as just like pilots who have been around and fucking done everything. Yeah, so the voice recorder, I'm using a Insta360 Go 3 for the camera, but it doesn't have a mic input. So I got I think it's called like a Zoom H1 Essentials or something like that. It's a separate audio recorder, and then I run an adapter that plugs into the helicopter, then my headset plugs into that, but it splits off an audio cable that I can plug into like the 3.5 audio jack on it. Oh yeah, whatever. I don't care. I'm not saying I don't care about your private Insta. Should have, I would have figured it out. Plus, I was like, I knew your name anyways from emails and shit. I don't care. I'm not a doxer. You need to find that. Well, he doesn't follow me, so unless you're getting into the weeds of my, I don't even know how the fuck you'd find him. Honestly, there's ways, but whatever. I don't fucking care. Don't dox each other, Jesus. Titty Tower, this is Helicopter 420 Foxtrot Whiskey on a right downwind for runway 14. Titty traffic. A really right downwind for the ramp. The civilian ramp, titty traffic. Please, Matt, tell me. No. It's not my name to give away. Let's see, can we fly a little bit closer and see a flag? Would that be fucking sick or not? Give me a windsock. Give me a fucking windsock somewhere, please. Oh, there it is. Blowing from the right. Oh, we'll just do a straight fucking headwind approach then. Titty Tower, Helicopter 420 Foxtrot Whiskey. Going to be doing a approach from the southwest. We're on short final now for your fuel truck. Titty traffic. I ain't got shit and shit. Or do I have a Garmin in here where I can check my fucking winds and everything? True. Oh, there's a fucking weird plane that I saw the other day at the airport. Did I tell you guys what it was? I forget the exact, like, name and nomenclature or whatever for it. But I want to say it's the Technam, the TECNAM or something like that, I think. But it's a twin engine, but it's like Cessna 172 size, but it's high wing. Like P206 or something like that. There's one of those sitting down here at the airport. It's fucking wild looking. Oh, in the 22? Yeah. Okay, let's see. Fuel. What's my distance to, Horn, go away. What's my distance to up here? $152 miles. Cool. Also, you should keep your hand on the collective while starting. If the governor fails for any reason, you can catch the throttle before it ruins anything. Gotcha. Let's see, we'll throttle back up. I don't need to use the bathroom or anything, so we'll just send. I think I'd have to go back and watch. There's little things that I'm changing like every time, from picking up on one thing that he says, that I say, whatever. Is there a second fuel station over here? Yeah. What are you doing? Why are you decaying? Weird. Okay, anyways. Well, we also, when I do my checks and everything, I also do a throttle twist. I also do a correlator check and everything like that. And I want to say that helicopter was flown a little bit before I was there. Like an hour and a half before I got there, so it was still mildly hot. So it didn't require as much fuel for a cold start, or it shouldn't require as much fuel for a cold start. So we were easy on the gas going into it. The belts are old. They're still good. They still check out good. They still tension good. But they are older. I think the ship's like 300 hours from, or 300 TBO. His last name starts with a cool Australian letter that you've never heard before. It just got out of 100 hour the other, like, 2 weeks ago. Should be fine. It's just, like I said, it's a 200 hour TBO, or 156, 260 hour TBO thing. So it's at the end of its overhaul life. Oh yeah, it's not new belts on it though. These are fucking... These belts have been on it. Sheaves are good, everything looks good. It's also very fucking hot, especially sitting on the ramp. So it's probably trying to adjust tension for that, and once air gets moving through it, I assume it tolerance is slightly different. But once we get going and it finally sees power and seats itself in it, it doesn't light on us any. Usually on the initial start and the initial pickup it may blink like tick, 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 a little bit on the initial pickup. But it stays out. We usually do that a good 20-second hover check or so initially once taking off to make sure everything looks good. I'm also not going to claim to be a fucking expert in these things, so I'm just parroting what I've been told. Tom's so distracted he hasn't even given us like good altitudes for winds or anything. So sad. See, 126 knots. We got a 10 knot tailwind right here, so we'll take that for now. Yeah, he did video it, and he sent it to the school owner after we landed, after we were done. Interesting, not shimmed properly. Also, one thing I think is fucking wild. So I was familiar with the belt system in the Schweitzer 300, and the way it tensions the belts is it has a tensioner pulley that adds the tension to it. The Robinson actually lifts the fucking tail boom shaft from what he was saying, and lifts the shaft to tighten it up. But also, I'll mention that to him. I'm seeing him again on Monday. I'll be like, hey, you had a guy that does R22 stuff say the light blinking could be a shim misalignment on the engine. You know what? I'm starting to think that I just like leaded fuel. Because I was just thinking how much I enjoy the smell of the avgas burning. And it also makes me think of race gas in cars. So maybe I just like lead. Maybe I'm fucking stupid. I should have done a normal approach back there just to pick my angle and lock in instead of trying to like constantly adjust for it. Yeah, spread the spindles. Moves the tail, not the tail boom, but the drive shaft through the tail. It yeah. Makes it tighter by making it the appropriate size instead of being too big. Yeah, I was like, okay, cool. That's a, I don't say novel way to do it, but that's unique. The flex couplings are there for a reason. Similar time machine as well. It had 150 hours left. Oh, okay. Did y'all reshim it? Or were y'all just like, oh, okay, cool, we can deal with it? If you gotta do an auto, gotta do an auto. Okay, be right back. Adios. Oh man. My ears just popped. I don't know if a system went through or I'm finally slowly getting over whatever this cold thing is, whatever I have. Better be getting over the coffee. I'm sorry for coughing in your guys' ears. I don't like doing it as much as I'm sure it's annoying to listen to. Yeah, either way, flight training, it's going great. Pretty fucking fun. Like I said, the big thing is just going like, okay, cool, like, I don't have to spend the hours and hours learning how to hover. Which I'm not going to say like, oh man, I'm okay if I take... Okay, we'll see you in 20 minutes then. We're not... I mean, we're going somewhere, but we're going this way. But yeah, I'm not saying that I'll be happy if I'm a 50-hour student. But I'll just be happy knowing that I was able to hover day one. And then spend much more time focusing on stuff that's... I don't want to say matters more because a helicopter... What is a helicopter if it doesn't fucking hover? But it really makes me excited going like, okay, cool, I can spend effectively now 14 hours of flight and literally just working on auto rotations and approaches. And like, that's honestly exciting to me, to be able to grind away something that's like a very, very special and, not special, not fucking stupid, but something important in that sense. I'm curious what the standard... Because I always looked up, because it was always the thing. Hovering is the hard part of helicopter flying, obviously. So I'd always look that up and thought, okay, cool, well, this is what I'm going to practice on. That's what I did a lot of. Of course, I ended up doing a lot of autos and stuff too here in the sim. But I'm curious what the normal amount of days and how many attempts a day leads to somebody having passable auto rotations for their checkout ride. Because I know the first hover auto when we go back, it's not going to be good. I will be doing it here in the Sim Summit, just doesn't feel the same. But I'm very curious what the... Of course, I've ridden along for the autos. When I was watching the first instructor do it on my Discovery Flight Day, he was doing it the very keep it in the green sort of thing, like really keeping it exactly where it should be in the auto. Instructor yesterday, during the autos, he would milk the collective down, or not milk. He would milk the rotor speed down and say, "Okay, cool. The rotor speed's slightly low. You can pull back on the cyclic. Or rotor speed's low. You can lower the collective, and you can pull back on the cyclic just a little bit, so that way you're still keeping your same approach angle." And anyway, he was kind of showing me the different. Okay, BRB to you too. I'll just be here yapping. But yeah, he was showing me like the different levels or the abilities to recover rotor speed in an auto rotation. Which obviously, good thing to know how to do, especially if you're in a less than perfect type of entry to the auto, where if you're doing a maneuver or, and God forbid, hovering out of ground effect, but like 100 feet above the ground, like, okay, cool, like there are ways and manipulations you can do to recover rotor RPM and get you in a place where hopefully you can cushion your landing. Moving forward, you still have all that energy built up in the ship moving forward itself, so it's not as bad. Yeah, I'm excited to be able to, I don't say play around, but get used to that. And get used to keeping it right in the green. I'm sure there will be days where I'm doing auto practice with him, or on a stage check, or something. And maybe he'll say like, hey, I'm going to ride along, so holding the controls while I'm doing an auto. And maybe I'm working on keeping it just right where it needs to be. And maybe he'll slowly pull collective and degrade some speed off, or degrade some rotor speed off, or maybe push forward slightly on the side. And maybe